Hello.
Yeah. Sir, I'm going to
Okay.
start, right?
Okay, I can start. Yes.
Yes. So, welcome all the viewers in 2 days online international conference on COVID-19, challenging in testing, prophylaxis and management in collaboration with Society of Pharmaceutical Education and Research and International Society of Pharmacoeconomics and Outcome Research. So, without any delay, we are going to proceed with the first technical session. And we have with us intelligent and dynamic personality, Mr. Tarun Gupta. Mr. Tarun leads innovation, solution development, project management, and delivery at Sai Pure Me. He is graduated from Delhi College of Engineering and postgraduate from Management Development Institute. Mr. Gupta is having 10 years of experience in technology, analytics, business development, consulting across various industries. Mr. Gupta has developed innovative technologies enabled analytical framework across industry. So, uh, I'd like to call Mr. Tarun Gupta ji to give his views. Tarun sir,
Okay.
yeah, it's over to you.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Amit. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much for this very, very warm and very kind introduction. I think I do not deserve this great introduction. Thank you so much for introducing me to the whole audience. And I want to wholeheartedly thank Dr. J.D. Gupta, who's leading this effort and making this uh, during this tough and difficult times, ensuring that everyone gains out of the experts and the expert opinions that are available outside, and making full use of this online medium to reach out to the large audience. So, and my biggest thanks to ISCP Institute for allowing me to participate in this. So, as Dr. Amit introduced about myself, I would like to take 2-3 minutes about who I am, what we are doing, and what our vision is, and how does it, and what kind of help we can provide to you, and how we can work together. So I am Tarun Gupta, founder and CEO of SecureMe. I lead innovation and delivery in that particular organization. Our organization is working in the area of artificial intelligence and machine learning. We are trying to solve some critical uh, conditions and working on chronic conditions as well with the aid of technology and analytics. Currently, we are working in collaboration and an association at, and in fact, our office is in IIT Delhi, and we are working with other prominent health institutions like All India Institute of Medical Sciences, and PGI Chandigarh to help enable our solution that we are working on. So I was very excited when I was called upon to share my thoughts, my opinion, and my views on how artificial intelligence is shaping up during these times, and what is the impact of it in the future. So to begin, I'm assuming the audience whom I'm addressing this to will have some idea, some basic knowledge, and some on the nuances and the nitty-gritties, as well as the know-how about what artificial intelligence is, as well as the potential of this particular field. But I must say, uh, this statement, which is that artificial intelligence will have a significant impact in the field of healthcare. Really going to recast and transform the way that we're going to monitor and manage our health. So this is going to be the future. In fact, there is I have recently been interacted with officials in public health, both in India, and I was in United States a couple of months back, and everyone is exceedingly optimistic, excited and really enthusiastic about how the artificial intelligence can shape the future of this world. Now, coming on to one of the concepts that we are working on, which is the part of telehealth, and we are working this in synchronization with the Ministry of Health in India as well as other states across the world, is that during COVID times, there, as you must be aware, that people who are above the age of 60 or are in the geriatric population or have usually have multiple condition or multiple chronic conditions, and such people have been warned, and in fact they have been literally recommended not to move away from their home because to go and look at the doctors. But but is it a good thing that they are not able to see their doctors? Not at all. Now the question is that in India, if you just look at India as a condition, as an environment, uh, India is the diabetic capital of the world. There are 75 million people who are diabetic, as well as 70 million people are pre-diabetic. Similar is the number for hypertension. So these chronic conditions are exploding. In fact, there's a fact 1 in 3 adults suffer from them. And this situation, as per leading researchers, is alarming. And most of the researchers attribute this to unhealthy lifestyles. Now, now imagine such patients, such individuals are unable to go to hospitals. Now, what can we do as part of technology or artificial intelligence or purely science that we can help these individuals to stay safe at home and also get the best treatment or action or best prescription recommendation from their physicians, doctors, virtually. So in that sense, to give you a small example on the kind of work that we have undertaken, when people like who are in diabetes and hypertension have to regularly take their, must be aware, they have to take their blood pressure readings. It is mandatory for them to do it every on a daily basis. They have to constantly get their blood checked to check their HbA1c level, their cholesterol level. Also, they have to get their oxygen saturation level also checked up at a very regular level. Now, with the situation where they are literally locked down or not recommended to move out of their hospital, and such data is very important. The vital data is very important for the doctor to know how they are doing. In fact, some of the data points like their weight, their nutrition, as well as the kind of medicines they are taking, and also what kind of prescription that have been prescribed, all is what doctor needs to know for them to give them a predictive as well as a very personalized recommendation and giving them risk scores and also doing a surveillance. Now we are using a middleware, a software, a technology which is aided or supported by artificial intelligence, intending to provide these patients an opportunity to actually provide the data which is collected from disparate and distinct sources like glucometers, blood pressure, oximeters, weighing machine, their food data, while sitting at home, and all these large, continuous, longitudinal data, while sitting at home, is being poured and placed onto our platform. And we are using some of the very sleek, very agile algorithms, which are form the basis of artificial intelligence, and converting these disparate sources of data coming from wearables, in-home devices, digital health apps, which are very personalized, and then we are converting that into actionable insights, and then passing on to the doctors who are looking at this holistic data of these patients while they're away, and doctors sitting also at the comfort of their clinic, and then the doctors are able to take prudent and personalized decision for these patients, these chronic patients, who are unfortunately are suffering and are not being able to being attended, and they are scared to go to the hospital. So this was to begin with. I wanted to share this kind of small applications that are coming out in the market. In fact, we are partnering with with very renowned and doctors around the country who are taking this forward to actually help the patients and the people who are stuck at home due to COVID. And I thought I should bring this up as this was very important, because the topic that we are talking about is artificial intelligence and the impact on the future. Now, for example, that we are working on is, as Professor J.D. Gupta yesterday clearly mentioned, and I was listening to him very uh, keenly, that apart from the main disease, the other thing which is really coming up is stress. And he clearly mentioned that it's not the snake bite, but the fear of snake bite is what kills people. Now he cannot be further away from the truth. This is absolute reality. This is what I personally have observed while I was in the US, and after coming back to India, is the fear. The psyche is so poor that people are suffering, even at home, or if they have minor symptoms, they are going to the quarantine center is difficult. Now, what people have done in the US, they are using virtual reality. And as we are talking about artificial intelligence, they have actually built a device which sits on your earbud. And I saw a demonstration of it. It's actually being built with University of Howard and Stanford together. And they are taking the gamma beta rays from the mind, and they have put a virtual reality device on their as a like a face mask, and they are literally taking that these quarantine patients into an atmosphere, into an environment where they have observed, noted, and figured out that the stress goes down up to 60%. So they are using virtual reality, combining it with the data coming from your mind, with your facial expression, and they are trying to take down the stress of people who have certain tendencies to get into depressive mode, or get anxiety, have anxious, or have anxiety, and so on and so forth. So this is one of the applications that is coming out tremendously. uh, and one of the applications I saw of artificial intelligence while we were talking to these professors is that some of these people have actually started building facial recognition software where for emergency situations. So what they are trying to do, they are trying to they are trying to build a concept and solve a problem where they are saying that whenever there is an accident or there is a trauma, then the and the moment the patient is admitted into the hospital, and in case the patient is not in the position to tell his name or his know-how, then they lose that particular time before they can pull up his or her medical records. And this was the application which is actually being built in University of Colorado, and I was witness to it. And without disclosing much, but these youngsters, very bright youngsters from Stanford, are actually using image processing. And image processing is a very common, so they are actually doing control and case, and they're actually using face recognition along with Apple, and they're trying to map it with the medical records. I know this is nothing good, great idea, but unfortunately it has not been implemented, and they are pioneering in it, so that, for example, God forbid, you meet an accident, or there is an emergency, or there is a temporary loss of memory, then how, and if you are admitted into the hospital, then tell me what are the ways that a doctor can actually use the data to pull up your past medical records, current history, as well as contact your near and dear ones. So they are using a pure image processing where they're scanning people, they are making best use of the data security, and they are mapping it. A simple uh, and a very clean technology, but the kind of impact it will have on the overall humanity, healthcare, patient care, improving quality of in the assistance in hospital admission will be tremendous and would be actually looked upon as one of the brightest innovations coming out in near future. That's I thought I would share that example with you because it was something which I found striking. Another concept on artificial intelligence we are particularly working on, and I would urge you, maybe if you guys can partner with us, then we'll be more than happy. Is we are actually using some of the 3D scans, three-dimensional scans of retina. It is called optical coherence tomography angiography. It is cross-sectional motional view of retina. And just to give you a brief background, retina is the only organ where you can see live blood vessels. Surprising, isn't it? I was not even aware of it. So we have a large team of ophthalmologists working on it. And what does it do? When we look at the 3D scans of the eye, we get to get the information of the very, very small capillaries in the retina. Yes, yes, I'm talking about capillaries, and I'm sure you guys are well read. You must have already heard about fundus scanning, FUNDUS, fundus scanning, which is a 2D scan, which only lets you allow to do the arteries or the larger blood vessels in the eye. But when you do through OCTA, we are able to get to the capillary level. And what we saw and observed that many a changes, and I repeat this with a lot of emphasis, many a changes are happening in those capillaries which are actually giving us a view about our cardiovascular health. And as and when we further investigated into it, in fact, there are many papers that have been written on it, and and we have digged deeper into it with ophthalmologists, cardiologists. We found an astounding, miraculous link between the changes in the capillary, like capillary dropout or lack of blood in those capillaries or extra flow of blood in those capillaries, identified because there was no technique to identify, has a very strong link, correlation, or relationship with cardiovascular diseases. And now this we have proved this method. In fact, we are working hand in hand in sync with IIT Delhi and some of the computer vision professors. And I'm sure you guys have strong interest in computer vision, deep learning, which is comes under the bracket of artificial intelligence. We are trying to look at thousands of these images and trying to segregate with people having hypertension, chronic hypertension, or developing an early symptom of hypertension. And to further proceed, we are trying to look at the changes in the retinal microvasculatures, which I called as these small capillaries. And looking at these changes, we are going to build. And when I say we are very confident, although this is work in progress, and I'm telling you all of this with full confidence. We are working with leading cardiologists and ophthalmologists. We are trying to build a risk score. I repeat, a risk profile score for people to actually know their cardiovascular risk looking at the eye. So exciting, right? Yes, it's very exciting. When we started embarking on this journey, literally it led to sleepless nights. I could not even sit and imagine that what it can, the impact it will have on the tons and tons of people. 150 million people are hypertensive and leading to vast amount of diseases later on complication. And you must be surprised. I might test in telling this is all published. 58% people who are having these kind of hypertension are absolutely unaware. And there has been instances people are collapsing at the age of 28. And such revolutionarily radical techniques using AI can really transform. So why I'm covering this all during the COVID times? Because of course this is a very difficult times. But how is it related to COVID is because most of the people who are suffering are having underlying conditions. So, and you will be surprised to know if you read the literature, most of them are not even aware that they are having underlying conditions. So they are not taking the right precaution, they are not taking the right steps towards protecting them or their family, or having right a proper uh, kind of system where they can strengthen their own immune system. So all of this is very, very necessary. In fact, as I mentioned, artificial intelligence in other fields is playing a very significant role, because large amounts of data a human person, an individual or a doctor cannot process with the naked eye. Even if you have bring in 100 doctors, in the tons and tons of data at a micro level can never be processed, and all of it can be actually be augmented or helped using computers and the artificial intelligence here on. So what I'm basically trying to say through this medium is that uh, tr- large amount of initiatives have been taken. In fact, I would like to say another thing. Very recently, a robot was used. Yes, a robot was used to do by a cardiologist. The robot was used in Ahmedabad by a cardiologist to conduct a surgery. Yes, a surgery in a rural town 30 kilometers away from Ahmedabad. Imagine the kind of advancements that we are going through. Yes, it has perils as well. Everything has their negatives to it. Artificial intelligence is uh, is also creating a lot of chaos. I would like to quote an example, which is a little bit funny, but in 2015, Google came up with an image recognition where any image they would put, then they could recognize, and it so happened. It was more embarrassingly that whenever Google would go and and reach out to a black person in the image, that the Google recognition system would immediately portray it as a gorilla, and that was sad. A lot of people made fun of it, but it was very sad that labeling the black people as gorillas, and that created a huge hue and cry in the world, and they had to change their algorithm, they had to change their learning system, and they had to remove that word. So if it artificial intelligence can become it gets uncontrolled, then it can lead to a lot of disasters. Now people are talking about driving cars, selfless driving cars. Now imagine in a situation like India, where 25 million people, yes, 25 million people out of 1.3 billion population are into the driving profession. Yes, I was not even aware of that. I got to know from a very leading journal that 25 million people, be it lorries, be it trucks, or be it cars, are into driving profession. Now just imagine 10 years down the line, if we have selfless driving cars or lorries or trucks, what would these people do? They have not even thought about it. In fact, I give you a fact which that you must carry with yourself, and also pass it on to your families or kids or your parents. It's being reported by 2030. Yes, it's only 10 years later. 30% of the skills that we have acquired so far will be redundant, will not be useful, will not come into the picture. In fact, most of these skills have to be around machine learning, learning about artificial intelligence, technology, and all the skills. So, my urge and my request to all of you is that why don't we train ourselves and our near and dear ones, in fact, the larger education system, so that we get trained for those skill sets that's going to be in the future. Otherwise, we're going to miss the bus, and we're going to fall flat, and this wave will going to hit us where we are not prepared for it, and that will have long lasting impact as compared to any other impact that we are facing right now. So that's one of the things as well. A lot of institutes are working on AI on COVID, but one of the things which they are absolutely ignoring, because I was part of a couple of committees, and some of the alarming things that were that were talked about is they were violating the privacy. So if you plan to work in artificial intelligence, although I'm just touching the surface, this can be clearly dealt in other lectures which talks about ethics, data privacy, but violating the privacy and the patient data is unfortunately not taken very seriously in India. But if you travel to US and plan to work in the European and US environment, one mistake can actually not only destroy your career but also the people associated with it. So just tread on this path of artificial intelligence, of solving a problem. Yes, your intention will be right, but any breach of violating the privacy is not taken seriously. In fact, without naming the governments and the state governments, the governments have been accused, and rightly so, they have been proven guilty of selling patients' data to private entities for some monetary gain. Just imagine you walking into an hospital and giving their medical records and your, say, any other details, and it has been shared by private companies or labs or pharmaceutical companies who are actually making money out of it. How would you feel? So this issue has not been taken into. In fact, some of the issues I would like to talk about is there has been recently a lot of uh, uh, debates has been going on in how people who are using technology are using the data. Have they used the right set of data? Have they cleaned the data? Have they used the symmetry of data has been maintained or not? And the kind of data that they are using has been rightly approved by the subject matter experts or not. So when we are talking data, yes, it's a very exciting field. One can draw a lot of implications, a lot of uh, uh, insights out of it. But to handle data, to 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 structure the data, to clean the data, to make the data really usable and effective is also one of the things that you must necessarily take into the consideration, as all of it will have very and and in additionally, I would like to also highlight. I don't know how much time I have got, but that um, that all these models are pregnant with errors. Yes, and 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 you must be even aware that even at 99.99%, which means 0.001% is still the error rate. Now, how critical it can be for in the field like healthcare, you can even imagine. Now, I will be surprised if you go to one of the leading airports at the US. They have started taking the image of you. Yes, they actually do they take your facial images, and they take all the passengers who are coming into the New York airport or the San Francisco airport, and they map it with all the terrorists or the potential terrorists or the people who have done wrong to the society. They are mapping it with them and trying to figure out if your image matches with them. Now, just imagine if that software was 99.9% accurate, which means that close to 10,000 people would still be coming into the bracket of being not guilty but being charged of being convicted. Now, what kind of havoc that would create, or vice versa, people who have been into having criminal records and were let go because their machine learning system did not recognize them as a potential threat to the country. So such system can be very very dangerous, and these are the perils of artificial intelligence. Just imagine the robot that is actually going to treat in fact the robot treatment is now taking uh, has been accelerated and now taking a lot of recognition in the US and in India because of this COVID-19 situation. Just imagine one wrong programming or one wrong input or one wrong output for the robot, and if he's doing a very critical surgery, what impact it will have on the patient who's lying on the bed and being treated by such reports. So the whole purpose of this talk was to give you a landscape, to give you a broad idea, to give you an insight of what's happening in the world, uh, and where the world is moving in the future. We see you must be a simple thing like autocorrect is a part of artificial intelligence. Some simple things like Siri or Alexa are part of artificial intelligence. But we have gone much beyond that when we talk about robots, when we talk about drones doing surveillance or actually mapping the fields, agricultural fields, and trying to predict when you can start harvesting, or trying to predict when to disinfect those crops, because the images they capture, and they collect tons of images, and then they bring it together to bring an algorithm to predict on what to do and what interventions to do to actually get the great harvest. So all these things are going much beyond than simply Siri, Alexa, or recommendation engine, or the things you see around. And I was fortunate to be in US for some time, and I've traveled quite a lot, and I'm amazed at the kind of things which people are doing, both from at the grassroots level, at even at the policy level, and it will all have impact. So again, it will be my humble request. Uh, Last time I was in your college, I had a great interaction session. Unfortunately, that part is missing, but I am very thankful and honored to be part of it. Thanks to Professor J.D. Gupta and Dr. Amit, who has allowed me to do this. But last time also when I was there, I urged that to really read extensively, eclectically and widely about what is being done in artificial intelligence. And that's step one. Step two for everyone would be to pick up a small problem. There's no small problem at all. As I told you, the facial recognition and mapping it to medical records seems like a very flippant and frivolous problem, but the kind of impact it will have, I was not even aware. A simple thing like mapping the stress, the gamma rays, the beta rays in your brain, and bringing it into visual reality, and taking into a space of a forest or a walk to bring down the stress, is an extraordinary level of amalgamation of technology, artificial intelligence, for a fantastic use. So that's why I'm saying, or something like looking into eyes to actually tell everything about your heart. So everything is possible. But what I'm saying is that pick up a problem, because they are abundant problem. Their problems are galore, and do not confuse yourself. Pick up a very small problem and go so deep into it. As they say in English, miles wide, inch deep will lead you nowhere. Of course, it might help you to get a good job, maybe talk for 15 minutes and impress an interviewer. But if you have to really learn artificial intelligence and create a real impact, then you have to spend hours researching about it. The next thing is you have to be a great collaborator, because if you have to work on health field and you are coming from non-health field, you will be an utter failure. So, or if you are from the health field and you need a technologist who can do basic programming, then you need to have a great collaborator. So it is an interdisciplinary act. All the artificial intelligence talks that you are looking on the YouTube, etc., is actually to reality. And I also was of very high opinion. This is all science fiction. This is not reality. Unless I made visit to these cutting edge institutes who are at the top of the helm of the affair and are really doing some mind-boggling research. And I was fortunate to be part of the team, and I realized that it is just the beginning. And I would end by saying that there are a lot of positives and upside to artificial intelligence. It is not difficult, but there are perils and dangers to it as well, which I talked about: data privacy, handling the data, the sensitization of the patients or the people involved, as well as educating the people to use it, because it's not an academic project. Because one of the hottest debate which is going on everywhere is what is the ROI, which means if Professor Dr. J.D. Gupta or Dr. Amit or everyone puts in hundreds of hours into building a product, and it is not reaping rewards in terms of the monetary value, then the question is it justifiable? Is it actually worth spending time? Because if there is no monetary or return of investment on it, be it a social impact, that's also fine. Then one has to really think. So as an entrepreneur, as students, as people who are very keen to be part of art in the artificial intelligence journey. This is my advice, and I would also like to say I'm very open to suggestions. I'm very open to partnerships as well. I am based out of Delhi, IIT, and I can leave my email address and phone number with the respected team, and anyone who's keen and genuinely enthusiastic with unbridled joy to actually work on this field and partner on some of the things which I talked about. I'll open my arms, and my team will be very much interested to collaborate with you. So with this note, again, wholeheartedly, warmly, and respectfully like to thank Dr. J.D. Gupta, who has been an exceptional leader, who has not only brought people from different fields and have been very liberal to allow people like me to interact with you, and you must thank him profoundly and give him applause on how uh, he has been so kind to all of us to allow such interaction. And thank you, Dr. Amit, for conducting and helping me onboard this process. And thank you, audience. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Have a good day.
Taranjeev, I was having one question, which was getting my mind from last few days. Either we can use artificial intelligence to find out the COVID-19 patient with the help of voice, because COVID-19 patient is having a different sort of voice of cough, and they have a different pattern of breathe.
Mhm.
We can use any kind sort of technology by which we can identify the COVID-19 patient with the help of voice using AI.
Yes. So, excellent question, Dr. Amit. In fact, I deliberately did not come into all these things because they are in work in progress. Many companies, many institutions are working on it. So, tons of things have been done, but they are all work in progress. But I would like to share some of the insights. There are some companies who are looking into not just voice, but the overall. They are tracking the vitals of the person. For example, the say day one. Say you, for example, don't mind, say develop fever, right? So some of the companies are actually giving hardware which will track your BP, SpO2, which is the saturation of oxygen in your blood, because it's related to your respiratory thing, as well as your sleep pattern, because people who have or had symptoms of COVID have irregular sleep, as well as your cough pattern, which is either self-reported or reported through the device which is tagged onto the throat or any other body part. So these devices have been tagged or have been put across to all these patients, and these their vitals are being on a minute to minute basis. And I repeat, minute to minute basis, even including the body temperature, are being transferred over network into a platform where these longitudinal data pattern is being recognized, and any outlier is the signal is giving. So in terms of the voice thing which you're talking about, I haven't heard about the voice part because that's more from a perspective of being. It can be many other things, but all the things which I talked about on the symptoms, which vitals, with the symptoms that are physiological symptoms which are showed, people are tracking them. Unfortunately, Dr. Amit, these hardware are expensive, and to people to make them aware of the utility at this time is getting a bit difficult.
Okay.
However, as I told you in the morning, just as I was starting, we are ourselves building a product where a patient can actually feed him the symptoms and talk to a doctor over video call, and his BP, glucose will be recorded, and everything is passed on over a longitudinal, and his trend is observed. And even if not just the patient, but his people around it, so that we can intervene much before such thing can happen. But voice thing I haven't heard about, but other things I've been hearing and I'm personally working on it.
Okay, thank you, sir. Sir, thanks a lot. I hope that all the viewers will be benefited with your valuable talk. And thanks a lot.
Thank you so much. It was all a great pleasure to be part of it.
Okay, thanks.
Well, thank you so much, doctor. Thank you.
Okay, sir. So we are going to proceed with the second session. So which will take another 5 to 10 minutes. So we'll catch you later within 5 to 10 minutes. Good morning, sir. Sir, since we are online and most people will be looking live on the YouTube, and we are around 40 participants watching live on the link. So don't forget everyone that we are live, so we can proceed. Sir, you are ready for your slide? Sir, I can't hear you.
Now it is audible.
Yeah, yes, sir. Now,
Okay, good
yes,
morning.
sir.
So I will
Yes, and sir, if you want,
I start
you
right?
can check that how to proceed so that
Okay. I will just check whether I will share the presentation.
yeah, for your presentation. Click the option called present now at the bottom.
Okay,
You
okay.
can click on present now and then
And I wanted to know whether I will be able to see the video or only presentation.
Hello.
Hello.
Sir, my voice is coming to me again. Let me do one thing. Let's connect once more.
Okay. Then disconnect. Okay.
Hello.
Hello. I am very thankful to the ISS College of Pharmacy Moga for giving me this opportunity. I will be speaking on challenges in management of COVID. First of all, I would like to thank Dr. G.D. Gupta.
Sir, let me first start your give your introduction before you start, and I have to take a signal from the another person who is taking us live on the YouTube.
My problem is I am not able to see your video, so I am not able to connect properly. Okay.
Yes.
I don't know how it is working now.
Sir, still going live.
Okay, we have some time.
Yeah, I will let you know when we are live.
Okay, okay.
Okay. So we have our second speaker with us, Dr. S.S. Patel. He is a professor at College of Pharmacy, Jalan University. The Professor S.S. Panchali is having 3 decades of experience in industrial academia as well as research. And Dr. Panchali has completed B.Pharm in 1983 from UN Institute of Pharmaceutical Sciences, Udaipur. Dr. Panchali has his master's from State College of Pharmacy, Ahmedabad, and PhD from Dr. H.S. Sagar. Dr. Pancholi has did MBB from JNB University, Jodhpur, and Dr. Pancholi has guided more than 25 students. Out of that, 20 are B.Pharm students, 30 M.Pharm students, PhD, and 10 PhD students under his guidance. Dr. Pancholi is life member and the executive member of different professional bodies like APTI, IPS, IPA, and others. And Dr. Pancholi is having service in the different field like formulation development, analysis, quality management, and IPR. Thank you, sir, for sparing your valuable time with us. and it's hand over to you.
Good morning all. Thanks Dr. Amit for introducing me. I am thankful to the organizers of this seminar. It is a well thought topic. All of the world is facing the pandemic of COVID, and it is for all of the health professionals and as such all human beings, they should think over on different aspects which are influencing our life because of this pandemic. First of all, I would like to greet all the fellow members, speakers, the academicians, researchers, and fellow students who might have registered for this seminar. I welcome you all and greet you for the session. First and foremost thing I would like to tell you is that COVID-19 has taken a whole lot of toll. Many lives have been lost, including healthcare professionals, and I would like this opportunity to salute all the corona warriors who have lost their lives in this fight against corona. Especially recently we got the news that senior pharmacy professionals from Cadila Pharma, they lost their lives day before yesterday. I salute their sacrifices, and I would like to begin on my talk now. First of all, talking about this scenario, I would like to understand this slide here. Okay. COVID-19.
Yeah, sir.
Yeah.
And you can
I am not able to change the slide. Now it is changing.
sir, audible. Can you screen?
Okay. So first of all, COVID-19 was it was first came to the knowledge as a novel coronavirus in December 2019. It was named as SARS-CoV-2 that caused a series of acute So first thing is the introduction part that COVID is a kind of novel coronavirus that has been given the name SARS-CoV-2. It is causing a series of typical disease. Here we are talking of two things. One is the virus that is called SARS-CoV-2, and the disease that is caused by this virus has been named COVID-19. In India, first case was detected on January 30th in Kerala. Again, this was a patient from Wuhan University, a student who was studying in Wuhan University, and upon his return to India, he was tested positive. Regarding the pandemic situation as on today, the world has seen more than 62 lakh confirmed cases and 3.3 lakh deaths. It is a huge number and everybody is scared. Most of the countries in the world, they are struggling to contain the pandemic and are using all possible interventions. The United Nations has called corona pandemic the worst global humanitarian crisis since the World War II. So we can understand the severity of the situation. As on 21st of May, the world figures were 51.19 lakhs and India crossed 1.13. Now, important to note here is that the fight against corona in India has been far ahead as if you compare with the countries in the world. As against the average of 166% found positive per million throughout the world, India's figures are 82 numbers. And in case of number of deaths, it is 35,000 deaths, which is far less, only 3 deaths per million as compared to 42 of the world average. India has taken this situation on their footing and has waged a war against coronavirus. Government of India initiated Janata Curfew on 22nd March and thereafter nationwide lockdown was declared on 26th March, which was then extended again on 14th April and further it has been extended to 17th May and then now 31st May. So we have seen 4 sequences of nationwide lockdown and that is the main factor that is responsible for containment or restraint of the spread of this deadly disease. India has constituted a task force and announced various economic packages. We will see in brief the epidemiology, the similar kind of virus which falls in the family of coronaviruses, which are named because the shape of the teeth of virus is like a crown, so the name is given corona. The similar viruses were earlier identified as Middle East respiratory syndrome, MERS-CoV, severe acute respiratory syndrome, SARS-CoV, and now the new virus called novel coronavirus, named as SARS-CoV-2, has been identified, and this virus has several strains.
Excuse me, Panjali sir.
Hello.
Sir, your voice is not clear. Please take your microphone closer, please.
Okay. Now, the phylogenetic analysis of SARS coronavirus has given us the results that it can be classified into 2 types. Type L, which accounts for 70% of its strains, and type A, which accounts for 30%. Type L is more aggressive type, and it was the type S that was spread in China. And because of various quarantine measures which have been taken, the type L prevalence has decreased a lot. One important thing you have to consider in coronavirus situation is how this virus is being transmitted. Coronavirus, they are zoonotic, that means they have been transmitted from animals initially. Whether we talk of SARS-CoV, it was transmitted from feeded cats to humans. MERS-CoV was transmitted from dromedary camels, and there are many other coronaviruses which are circulating among animals but not yet able to infect humans. The origin of SARS coronavirus was pointed out to be from snakes, but later studies it has been found that it resembles to the virus that is common in bats and pangolins. From human to human transmission is basically a somite transmission, or we can say a droplet transmission. However, the mechanism of transmission are still under study and not very certain. The present knowledge relies that the transmission from human to human is droplet based. There are two types of droplets, which are one are micro droplets and others are droplets larger than 5 microns. And depending upon the size of these droplets, if a person sneezes or coughs, the length or distance to which these droplets can travel differs. The normal droplets of size above 5 microns cannot travel beyond 3 feet, but some micro droplets can travel up to 6 feet, and that is the reason we are asked to keep a safe distance which is 6 feet or above. Another important thing about the virus is the virus can remain viable for few hours to few days, depending upon the substrate, and the incubation period is 3 to 14 days. The symptoms of COVID-19 initially, when it is in a mild stage, they are fever, dry cough, nasal congestion, fatigue, diarrhea, shortness of breath, and breathing difficulties. In some cases, however, if the disease progresses to serious situation, serious respiratory conditions like bronchitis, pneumonia, respiratory failure, and even multi-organ failure can be identified. The respiratory symptoms can progress and can be fatal, and onset may take from 7 to 9 days. Now coming to the management part, the strategies which we are relying on as on date, they depend on personal protection. First thing is that we all know, because there is no known treatment for this disease, prevention is the way out. So, personal protection equipment are to be worn by all health workers, and even to normal human beings we should take all protective precautions like hand sanitation when we touch anything, keep social distancing or physical distancing, and very important for this disease to be managed in a proper way is early diagnosis and quarantine of those who are identified as corona positive, whether the symptoms appear or not. When the symptoms appear, we should resolve the symptoms by supportive or symptomatic therapies like to curb the fever or cough or congestion. In cases of severe situations, we may require life support systems and ventilators. There are options for the normal public that they take proper care and build their immunity keep themselves physically fit so that their own defense mechanism of the body can fight with the infection. Treatment with antivirals, antibiotics, antimalarial drugs that has been processed and being tried, but none has been finalized as a specific therapy for this particular disease. Also, convalescent plasma transfusion as a source of antibody is being tried. The main growing concern as on today is that many people are there who may get infected, and because, particularly in Indian situation, there is a good level of immunity. There are about 80% of patients who actually get corona positive, but they do not show any symptoms. They are asymptomatic, and they pose a huge risk to the community. They themselves are not aware that they are infected, and they can take chances with their family members, with their neighbors, and even they can go to the public places and spread the infection. In India, it is very difficult to perform random or door-to-door testing of all the population and isolate those who are infected. So, the responsibility or the onus of preventing the spread of disease lies on each of us to take all the preventive measures, first not to get infected, and also to see that even if we are asymptomatic, we don't know that we are infected. We have to take all care, considering that in case we are not identified as a symptomatic patient, but we may have harbored the infection, we should take all measures not to spread it. There has been a multi-center retrospective study on 206 death cases in India, which the death was supposed to be caused by corona, and it revealed that 53.4% of deaths, they included persons of 60 years or above. Specifically, 72.3% were male and 27.7% female. And in 64.1% cases, the deceased, they were having either diabetes or hypertension or other respiratory problems as pre-existing comorbidities. These comorbidities are also linked to age, and therefore there could be an erroneous thinking that only old people are likely to get infected, because nowadays you must be knowing that diabetes or hypertension is not a disease or respiratory or asthmatic problems. They are not only to be found in elderly people. Even young can suffer from this, and we should remember that when comorbidity is there are more chances of severe situations or critical situations for a COVID patient. Next, we will see that among all these comorbidities, one thing is very important, that the angiotensin converting enzyme Q, ACE2 receptors are involved, and renin-angiotensin system is involved. So all the organs and the diseases which are being treated using these receptors, they are to be taken care when any treatment for a corona patient is to be given, because The inhibitors of ACE or angiotensin receptor blockers, they can, if they are already given together, excuse me please, Dr. G.D. Gupta is calling. Hello. Okay, I got the message. Actually, I was not able to see the video. So, maybe there was a disturbance due to fan running. Okay. So, I will continue that the comorbidities are not simply the reason. One thing is important, that because of these diseases, the patient is already taking some ACE inhibitor or other, and if he gets infected by coronavirus and these SPE angiotensin converting enzyme receptors, SPE2 receptors, they being the site for entry of the virus, there is multiplication of and exaggeration of the situation. The current medical management is largely supportive with no targeted therapy available. However, there are several drugs, antiviral drugs like interferon, lopinavir, ritonavir, remdesivir, hydroxychloroquine, azithromycin, and convalescent plasma therapies, along with various ICE medicines which are being tested in clinical trials. Still, none of them have been proved to be therapeutically effective specifically for COVID-19. In India, the community of scientists, entrepreneurs, and various researchers have taken up COVID-19 as a challenge, and Indian government, academia, various startups, industries, they are all working relentlessly to find quick and deployable solutions for COVID-19. The nation has been able to mobilize a number of researchers to develop new testing kits, sanitization chambers, protective equipment, respiratory devices, etc. And we can see that in very near past, in few weeks back, there were very less production facilities for these type of things that have gained up very fast. And mass production of masks, sanitizers, PPE kits, ventilators, and testing kits, etc., they are grown up very fast. Self-reliance is the new mantra, and we look towards new opportunities to galvanize growth in health, technological, and industrial sectors. I will take a few examples in which India has made a good progress in last few weeks. First of them, from the field of researches in disinfection or sanitization and protection, etc. The CSIO Chandigarh has been able to design and develop an innovative electrostatic disinfection machine that produces uniform fine droplets of spray which are very effective to kill and stop the spread of coronavirus. Important Advantage is there is less need of disinfectant, and it also saves natural resources and environment. The right water solution is given the responsibility to commercialize and produce these sanitization machines on large scale. Another development is IIT Roper has come up with a trunk-shaped sanitizing device which is based on ultraviolet germicidal irradiation. We know that UV rays are capable of destroying the germs. This trunk-shaped sanitizing device can be used for various things which people bring when they come to home, like currency notes, even vegetables and milk packets, and other items which they receive from door delivery, and they can keep the things for about 30 minutes in the trunk with lights on, and it can be expected that it will sanitize the surface of those materials. Regarding personal protective equipment, in the first week of May, we had zero production capacity, but by the 18th of May, India was able to produce 4.5 lakh PPE sheets per day, and about 600 companies are having lab certified manufacturing facilities for PPE. In case of diagnostic kits, the ICMR and National Institute of Virology, they have developed and validated a completely indigenous IgG ELISA kit for detection of SARS-CoV-2. It is important that ELISA-based testing is easy because the kit contains inactivated virus, and also it is fast, as the kit can, a single test can be done on 90 samples within a period of 2.5 hours. Also, the newly developed kit has sensitivity and specificity which is very high and having very minimal biosafety and biosecurity requirements compared to RT-PCR test. Though RT-PCR remains the first choice and final test, and it is very important to note that Zydus Cadila has already started production of these ELISA kits, which are named COVID Kavach ELISA, and Zydus Cadila has already supplied 30,000 such kits. Another important development is a probe-free method for detection of COVID-19 that has been developed by IIT researchers with a reduced cost and no compromise on accuracy. The primer that has been designed by the group specifically binds to the region conserved in over 200 fully sequenced COVID-19 genome. The sensitivity of this in-house assay is comparable to that of commercially available kits, and very important, this assay can be used for qualitative yes or no type of assay, as well as this can be used to determine the quantitative virus load, and there is very less need of any instrumentation. Another important development throughout the world and in India is development of vaccines. One of the foremost developments made by ICMR is that they isolated the COVID genome and they shared the details with National Institute of Virology Pune, which is developing vaccine in collaboration with BBIL, which is to take the fast track approvals for this clinical testing of this vaccine. The CSIR has also initiated development of human monoclonal antibodies that can neutralize SARS-CoV-2 in patients and also designed to produce immunity. This new project aims to generate human monoclonal antibodies to SARS-CoV-2 from gradual recovery phase of COVID-19 patients and select high affinity and neutralizing antibodies. This project also aims to anticipate future adaptation of virus and generate human monoclonal antibody clones that can neutralize the mutated virus so that it can be used to combat future SARS-CoV-2 or SARS-CoV infections. A very important recent development is declared or announced by Moderna Incorporation that they have come up with positive results from a phase 1 clinical trial of vaccine candidate mRNA 1273, which acts against coronavirus 2. The phase 1 studies have shown that there is a dose-dependent increase in immunogenicity and across all the 3 levels of doses. These vaccines, they were found safe and well tolerated, and it elicits an immune response of the magnitude that is caused by natural infection, starting with a low dose of 25 micrograms, and it can prevent the viral replication in the lungs of a preclinical challenge model at a dose that elicited similar levels of neutralizing antibodies. The Moderna team continues to focus on moving to phase 2 and phase 3 studies, and they expect phase 3 to be commenced in July and then file a BLA. Another effort from Pfizer Incorporation and BioNTech, they announced that the first participants have been dosed in a phase 1-2 clinical trial of BNT, the vaccine program to prevent COVID-19. Here, the trial is designed to determine the safety, immunogenicity, and optimal dose level for 4 mRNA vaccine candidates. And it is a part of global development program, and already the first cohort was completed last week in Germany. Further development by Toronto, they have tried to develop a cocktail product, a shield, protective shield that can protect against SARS-CoV-2 infection and remain effective even if there are mutations in the virus through this single shot. In an in vitro SARS-CoV-2 virus infection model, one of the antibodies, SPI 1419, that was able to block COVID-2 infection of healthy cells completely. It was able to completely neutralize the virus infectivity at a very low antibody dose. The initial biochemical and biophysical analysis also indicates that this SPI 1499 is a potential candidate. It is a very strong antibody and potential drug candidate. It is expected, the company Toronto is expected to produce 200,000 doses per month and maybe further scale up for the manufacture of SPI 1499 so that it can meet the need of millions of the doses which are required worldwide. So that was regarding the vaccines. Another important therapy that is being tried throughout the world and also in India at different centers is convalescent plasma therapy. Recently, US FDA and also ICMR has encouraged that the recovered patients donate their plasma for blood-related therapy. A convalescent plasma is antibody-rich product made from blood donated by people who have recovered from the disease successfully, and the prior experience with respiratory viruses and limited data from China, they have suggested that convalescent plasma has the potential to decrease or lessen the severity and also shorten the length of illness that is caused by COVID-19. DCGI has given the permission for approval of protocols for a multi-center, two-arm prospective phase 2 open-label randomized control trial for convalescent plasma in COVID-19 patients. And 99 applications have been received from different institutes by ICMR, which would like or which are interested to participate in this study. So that is the welcome step. A number of clinical trials are also taking place to evaluate the safety and efficacy of convalescent plasma, and several permissions have been granted as an emergency investigational new drug by FDA for single patient trials. Now, in addition to vaccines and plasma, there are few drugs which have lined up and have shown promise for treatment of COVID. One of the important treatments that has come up is the interferon alpha 2b that has the efficiency to significantly accelerate the virus clearance and reduce the level of inflammatory proteins in COVID-19 patients. Interferons, they are a group of signaling proteins which are released by the human body in response to all viruses. They are first-line defense and they target different stages of virus life cycle, inhibiting them from multiplying. Interferons have been approved for clinical use for many years, and they can also be used in COVID-19 patients. There is also, in addition to interferon alpha 2b, interferon beta 1b, along with the antiviral combination of lopinavir and ritonavir and ribavirin. They have been tried, and the 2-week course started within 7 days of COVID symptoms is found to be safe and more effective as compared to the antiviral lopinavir and ritonavir combination alone. In the patients, the trial has been done on moderately ill patients, but we can expect the similar results if a kind of therapy is given in advance. So the chances of patients going to the severe stage may get reduced. This trial was done on 127 adult patients above age of 18 in Hong Kong hospitals, and a large phase 3 trial is warranted to exactly confirm the effectiveness of this triple combination. A very important drug candidate that has been very popular in news items is remdesivir, and it is now been approved in Japan as a treatment for SARS-CoV-2 infection under an exceptional approval pathway. Due to the pandemic situation, and a reference is there that emergency use authorization has also been granted for this drug in United States. So already remdesivir is used as a therapy in USA as an emergency use authorization, and in Japan also now exceptional approval pathway has been followed to allow its use. There are safety and efficacy trials ongoing on this drug on the large scale in different populations throughout the world. Another very important thing, in addition to these new drugs which are being tried, there are researches which are going on for repurposing the existing drugs. And the researchers have mapped human protein viruses that interact inside the body when it infects the cell and makes the copies of itself. And they took a look on these compounds that can block these proteins, and from the existing compounds, 47 compounds in the cell cultures, they have proved that they can block these proteins which are responsible for interaction and then making the copies of the virus. Out of these 47 compounds, at least 10 are approved drugs, and they are the candidates for repurposing, like some allergy medicines including clemastine, antipsychotic drug haloperidol, and antimalarial drug hydroxychloroquine. For favipiravir, CSIR has identified, along with this favipiravir, 25 other drugs as a drug for repurposing, and favipiravir, which is a viral RNA polymerase inhibitor, it has emerged out to be the most promising of these 25. It is already approved for treatment of common influenza and is marketed in Russia, in Japan, and in China. CSIR IICT Hyderabad has developed a convenient and cost-effective synthetic pathway for synthesis of favipiravir, and this entire process has been transferred to produce significant quantities of pharma-grade API to Cipla. They applied for DCGI permissions to market this drug as an experimental medicine for treatment in COVID-19. In an experimental chemical PB28 was found to be 20 times more potent than hydroxychloroquine in targeting the receptors, but it has less affinity for the heart protein, and that is why it is advantageous over hydroxychloroquine, and this may also come up as a promising drug. Hormone progesterone was also found to act against the virus, which might shed some light on the reasons that men appears to be more susceptible to COVID-19. In the previous slides, we saw that females are less prone to COVID infection. Why? Because they have natural progesterone levels, and progesterone is capable of acting against this virus. Another compound that is found to have antiviral activity is piltidepsin, that is used in Madrid-based PharmaMark experimental cancer therapy, Epilidin that is currently being tested for COVID-19 trials in Spain. So that is about various repurposing. So we have discussed vaccines, we have discussed the interferons, the antiviral drugs, and repurposed drugs. Now coming to the ICE systems, which are indigenous to India, the Ayurvedic system, the Siddha system, the Unani system, all of these systems, they have many known medicines which are commonly used and proved to be safe and effective in boosting the immunity. The IUS has undertaken, Ministry of IUS has undertaken the clinical trial-based studies for these several drugs, how much preventive as an intervention for COVID-19 they can prove, and they are assessing the improvement in quality of life in the high-risk population. So that is our Indian contribution, and I have already earlier mentioned that India has the more proportion of asymptomatic patients, reason being the inbuilt immunity of the Indian class. We may have developed this immunity due to the profound use of various condiments, which are basically immunity boosting, like turmeric and cinnamon, etc. And IUS has taken it up as a systematic study to understand clinically how effective this is in preventing the chances of corona infection. So with this, I end my talk and I thank you very much. Hello. Yes.
Hello.
Namaskar, sir. Thank you. Thanks for granting the opportunity.
So thank you very much, Dr. S.F. Pansali. Hello.
Yes, sir. I am hearing you. Yes. Thank you very much to you. Thanks for
Okay,
this.
okay. Because there is problem, I think, in the sound, either from this side or the other. So, on behalf of the committee being the convener of this conference, I am highly thankful to today's seventh technical session speaker, Dr. S.F. Panchali. She gives us information related to the COVID protection, prophylaxis, and management. So, as we know that government of India and in all over the world, everybody doing the work manufacturing of PPE kits, testing, and treatment, vaccines, and also working on some of the drug delivery system. So we hope that in coming year or in coming days or months, we can find out these things. And now slightly comfortable that how to protect from the COVID. So the situation is slightly changed and people is now aware about COVID-19. Professor S.S. Sharma and S.S. Panchali given lot of points related to the protection, and I feel that your suggestions and your they all will be beneficial to the society and the researcher, those who are working on COVID-19, either it may be dosage form or some of the detergent or some of the tests. Even in those days, people they are working mask, sanitization of the environment, sanitization of the workplace. One of the Pune company, they have developed
us 10 types of the symptoms, so we can quickly sanitize the hospital and sanitize the door where is the entry of in the industry, in colleges or somewhere. So number of the idea, some of the idea given by Pancholi. So our team, myself, I am thankful to all of you. So now the next technical session, 8 technical sessions of this conference. That because continuously we have taken 3 technical sessions. So we want to take the 15-minute break. After 15-minute break, we will again be the slide and the another Dr. N. Ganesh. He is a scientist from Bhopal. And next of the technical session, Dr. M. Gupta from Bangalore. So these are the 2 remaining sessions. And after that, we can period. We can take some of the suggestion of the student and the participant, those who are online. So thank you very much, Pacho.
Thank you, sir.
How are you?
I'm fine, great.
चलिए